being that lightning rod for putting us together here. Because Zephyr wouldn't be here if it wasn't for Tammy. IADO wouldn't be here if it wasn't for Tammy. I wouldn't be here if it was for you. So thank you on behalf of an election is about the future, right? We're here because we want tomorrow to be a better day for our families. It's about how we decide to live as a people, as a nation, and as a community. You know, I don't know about you, but I base my decision based on opinions of other people and facts, right? So I'm going to read you an opinion of institutions that have a lot of credibility in Illinois. Tammy was endorsed by the Chicago Tribune, and I'll read it verbatim because it is so eloquent. Walsh has been a congressman made for cable television, but not for his constituents. He has fueled the political vitriol that has paralyzed Washington, that nearly shut down the federal government that has failed to produce meaningful fiscal reform and economic recovery. This is a time when we're talking about jobs, and he's shutting down government. Duckworth has the capacity to inspire. Walsh tends to antagonize. Duckworth is endorsed. This is the Chicago Tribune. You know the conservative body? This is the Chicago Tribune endorsing Tammy Duckworth. What's also important is the local paper, right? Because they have the pulse of the community. It's not just, you know, the Tribune Tower that I'm sitting, you know, I know Bruce Stoll, so he sits in his 31st office or whatever, and removed from community. But the grassroots people listen to the local community paper. This is what the Daily Herald says. With problems so great, we need a Congress that works together on solutions. Walsh has shown no inclination. Tammy is a constructive, bipartisan problem solver. Game over. Game over. We want Tammy I'm an immigrant like you. I immigrated when I was 9 years old. I went to college on Pell Grant. If it wasn't for education, I would not be standing here. I turned Democrat when Reagan came in and cut Pell Grants. It was 1980. I knew my Pell Grant was zero. My parents' income didn't change. But I had to borrow $5,000 in 1982 to finish college. So for me, education is very important, just as it is for all of the Asian American community. Joe Walsh wants to get rid of the Department of Education. That's a stupid idea, I think. Don't you agree? Yeah. Obamacare, health care. 70% of Korean Americans do not have health care. Obamacare is very important. Joe Walsh, you vote him into Congress, he's going to repeal Obamacare. Tammy will make it work. Who do you want in Congress? We have community organizers for the Latino community and the Chinese community. We want to pass the DREAM Act. And Tammy, what was the language?
Interest people. So IADO is 100% supporting Tammy. We are working very hard. Have to work very hard. Tammy is going to win, we know that, but we need to have a big victory. Big victory, so opponent cannot dare to come back. Yeah. So let's work very hard. So we have to teach a lesson, a good opportunity, that next time he won't divide the community. That is my feelings. Thank you, and we'll be 100% with you.
Ladies and gentlemen, this IADO's 33 years is not easy. We have lots of challenges down the road. Give me an example that what is happening with the Joe Walsh against Tammy Duckworth. In 1983, Barney Aitken is the Republican candidate for Chicago mayor. He ran the election against first African American candidate. And he said, vote for me before it's too late. We are outrageous. So is IDO. We hold a rally in Diwan Avenue where the Barney Epton supporters was living. We are threatened to hold the rally. We did it. We mobilized our voters and we became part of the history of electing first African American as a mayor of Chicago. That's one of the history IDO has witnessed and participated. We do not support the kind of
quickly and say thank you to so many of the people who are here. First and foremost, because we have to thank Jan Schakowsky. If I lived in her district, I would not have to run for Congress because I would have the perfect congressperson representing me. I think the Indo-American community knows better than most how good a friend Jan can be and how much she has fought for the rights of all minorities in this nation, not just here in Illinois, but across the entire country. She's been a true friend to all of our communities, so thank you, Jan, for fighting for all of us. Next year, of course, is Raja, and let me tell you something. I'm the candidate I am today because Raja and I competed against one another. And we're going to see him in office, and I will work my butt off to make sure that we get him. I think it is a testament to the changing demographics in this state that we ended up in the Democratic primary with 2 Asians running against each other in a state with no Asians in elected federal office. Also, Dan Biss, who, are you still here, Dan? Yep, in the back. Dan, I met because he volunteered on my 2006 campaign. He came all the way out to the burbs to help us and to campaign, and he worked hard, and I'm so proud that you're now going to be Senator Biss, and I can't wait to work with you. And of course, Dan Katowski is here, who is my good friend. He's standing in the back of the room. He and I started in 2006 when nobody knew either one of us who we were. We did a lot of campaign events together. We're still doing joint events. In fact, we are jointly door knocking for one another. And so as you go out and you are in areas where we are overlapping, please, please, please spread the word on both Dans and make sure that we get everyone elected. Because at the end of the day, whatever we do at the federal level needs to be carried through to the state, to the county, to the municipal levels. And that's why we need to make sure that we also get people elected in aldermanic races, that we get people elected to school boards, to PTAs, to all of these organizations, because unless we have a seat at the table, our voices will not be heard. Our voices will not be heard. What are some of the issues? Why is it important to get Asians elected to school boards? Think about places like Elgin and Addison, where there's inadequate English as a second language programs and allotments for that, so that our kids who are bilingual, who are, for those of us who are new to the country, we need that education. Not just for the Asian community, but also the Latino community. We need to make sure we have a voice when those decisions are being made. We need voices at the county level. We need voices at the state level. You know, we talk about the transportation bill, and we're going to bring those federal dollars that Jan fought so hard to bring back here to Illinois, and we got it here. But how are we going to get Elgin O'Hare Expressway to go from Elgin to O'Hare if we don't have the 2 senators in Springfield fighting to make sure that that money does come back to our county? So we have to do that. So much that's happening right now affects our community on a very deeply personal level as well. Jay talked about healthcare reform. She's right. There's a large percentage of Asian Americans who do not have adequate health insurance. Part of that is also because Asian Americans are the community with the largest percentage of business owners. Asian Americans, more than any other community, with the exception of a lot of the Latino community, we are the ones who start small businesses in this nation. And because of that, we are responsible for our own health insurance, and most of us, when we are starting out with our small businesses, do not get adequate coverage. That's why things like Obamacare, healthcare reform are so critical, not just for our personal health, but for our communities and for our businesses as well. So Obamacare is not just about healthcare for people, it's about healthcare for businesses as well and for our community. So that is critically important we work on those issues. I'm going to send you all out there. You know, I'm going to tell you one quick story about the America that I know, the America that I've lived, the America that I want to represent. when I served on my helicopter crew, and I've been all around the world, I've been in Guyana, I've been building hospitals in the Amazon for indigenous tribes, I've been to exercises in Egypt, I've been to Iceland, I've been all over the world. And what's been amazing about being part of an American air crew in those other nations is that you could tell who the Americans were when we climbed out of our helicopter, not because of the uniform or the American flag on our shoulder. You could tell because we were so different looking when we climbed out. In my crew, for the most part, we had a Caucasian guy as the pilot in command. There was me. I had a Latino, a crew chief, and from time to time a backup crew chief who's African American. And it was very funny because people would come and want to look at our helicopters wherever we were, and they would go, of course, to the pilot in command and say, "Hey, we want to look at your helicopter. Can you tell us about it?" And he would say, "No, actually, you need to talk to Tammy over there because she's the highest ranking." And they'd say, "The little Asian girl? She's in charge?" And I would, they come to me and I'd be like, "No, actually, the tradition in the Army is that the helicopter belongs to the crew chief. You need to talk to Sergeant Jimenez. It's his helicopter. He just lets me borrow it." And then they would go to Sergeant Jimenez and he would say, "No, actually, you need to go talk to Specialist Jones because he's, one of our door gunners and he's got the bullets, and Michael Ridley with the bullets is in charge." But I tell that because that's what American crews look like. We're diverse. We're from different backgrounds. And the key thing that made us different beyond the way we looked was how much we respected and cared for each other and were working together. And that whoever was in charge, the rest of us, paid the respects to that position and we worked together to get the mission done. That's what we need to have happening now in this nation. We have to work together. It doesn't matter what your background is, what your tradition is, what your culture is. We're all Americans. We have the same mission, the strength and growth of this nation, and we have to take care of each other. That's what this election is about. So those of you who are door knocking, thank you for doing this. I cannot possibly knock on every door on my own. Those of you who are making telephone calls, thank you for that. I cannot possibly make all those phone calls. And so many of you have been very generous, not just to my campaigns, but to all the campaigns of all of the political candidates, and I thank you for that as well.